Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be discussing OxygenOS 3.5.6 on our OnePlus 2. Now OnePlus 2 is a former flagship phone from OnePlus, and ever since it was launched I've been reviewing it, guys, and I will continue to do so until I can, because we all want to see how long this handset will last and will stay in a top shape. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's quickly get started, and in the good old-fashioned way, first of all, let's try the fingerprint sensor. I know lots of you are waiting for it and see how it goes, so let's put my thumb up there and see if it turns on. Boom, there we go. Even after a year and a half, still the phone's fingerprint sensor is top-notch and working very accurately without any issues. Okay, so now let's get into settings and have a look and see which version of OxygenOS we are running along with the Android version. So settings, about phone, you can see it says OnePlus 2. It's the A2001 model, OxygenOS 3.5.6 like I said, and 4 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 810, 64 gig of internal storage. And at the moment it's running Marshmallow 6.0.1, and I know you must be thinking, where is Android Nougat? At the moment OnePlus 3 and OnePlus 3T are getting Nougat. My OnePlus 3 is still to receive it, but once they are finished with it, I think they will then release the Nougat update for OnePlus 2. But once they do so, guys, I promise I will do a video on Android Nougat on the OnePlus 2, and we'll see how the phone changes once it gets the latest update. Also, you can see it's running 1st of December 2016. It's one of the latest Android security patch level, but not the latest. So hopefully in the next update they will also keep up with the patch level update as well. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's quickly now get started. Okay, so first of all, let's discuss the VoLTE support which has been added in this version. Now from my understanding, VoLTE is not there. If you go into settings and sim and network, you guys can see there is no option for VoLTE here. There should be some sort of option telling me VoLTE, or if not, at least in the top right corner it should come up saying VoLTE. On my Galaxy S7 Edge, which is on the same network as 3 UK, often I see this symbol of VoLTE appearing on top. So even if the symbol is not appearing, VoLTE could be working at the back end, but there's no option in the phone which tells me it's VoLTE, so I'm not too sure if VoLTE is still there. But the good thing is that in the last about a year or so, my phone was always on LTE. Ever since this update, it has now started showing 4G on my mobile data. Now these two things are completely different. Not completely, I would say, but of quite a lot of differences between the two. LTE stands for long-term evolution, whereas 4G stands for fourth generation of data standards, like the internet and all that stuff. So whilst they were developing technology going from 3G to 4G, in the interim time they had this LTE standard come up. So this was kind of way of interim standard to jump onto and move on to finally 4G. But LTE was, like I said, an interim standard. Now I'm glad to see that LTE is gone, and I'm now fully on the 4G network of 3 UK. So I'm utilizing all the full speed that is offered by 3 UK on their 4G bandwidth, and now I am 4G. I always wondered, why am I getting LTE and never 4G? Finally, it was the software update which was needed to make sure that the OnePlus 2 was also receiving a full bandwidth from 3 UK, at least here in the UK. I'm not too sure how it works in other parts of the world, but from my understanding, if you have 4G, that means you're fully utilizing the bandwidth provided by the network in that country. So that's the good thing. But VoLTE, like I said, I'm not too sure if it's there. At least there should have been some sort of option saying VoLTE. There's no option in the settings, as you can see. So from my understanding, I might not be utilizing the VoLTE standard as such as of now. Maybe in a future update they might include it, but from my understanding it's still not there. Okay, also the dual SIM functionality is still not there as well, because this is the Chinese version of OnePlus 2. I got it very early in the days when the phone was newly launched. At the time it wasn't launched in Europe and in other parts of the world. In China they only use one IMEI number at a time, so you can always have only have one SIM activation in one go. So as you can see, I got here SIM 1 active and SIM 2 inactive. So let's press SIM 2 and let's activate it live in front of the camera to show you guys if we can have both the SIMs working at the same time. Now give it a few seconds and see if it comes up. Every time I tried in the past, about a week or so, guys, it hasn't worked. Only one network works at the same time. So only one SIM works at the same time. They're both on the same network. Both are 4G compatible, both slots, but only one SIM can be activated if you buy the OnePlus 2 from China. I know lots of people are going to let me know in the comment section, Jay, my phone is working fine. I've got dual SIM activation and both are working superbly, no issues. However, in my instance, in my case, because I was among the very first few adapters on OnePlus 2 when it came out, back in the days about a year and a half ago, and I imported this phone from China. And because China, like I said, uses only one IMEI number, that's why I can only have one network same activation, or one network if you got multiple networks in one go. So this is still not present, but I'm sure for most of you who purchased the handset later on, for you dual SIM functionality is still working. Okay, so next up is the app lock functionality which has been added. That means you can now individually lock apps, and I will show you how that's done. So let's get into settings. From here we go into fingerprint and security. There we go. And from here, if you go right at the bottom, you will see app locker. This says choose your encryption for apps. Once you tap on this, it will prompt you for a password, which I will enter in just a moment. There we go. I've entered my password. As you can see, all the apps which I've got installed on your phone are now there. The top section says encrypted applications, and the ones at the bottom are the ones which are not encrypted. Okay, so let's have a look and see if you want to add something. For example, we just tap on Play Store. There we go. So the Play Store app will go into the encrypted section, and here you can see it's been added now. So now let's get into Play Store and have a look and see if it gets locked. There we go. Now you can enter your password, or you can also use your fingerprint sensor. So once you tap your thumb there, guys, there we go, the Play Store opens up straight away without any issues. However, the issue arrives afterwards. Once you've locked the app, you unlocked it, that's fine. But if you go back onto the Play Store again, guys, it stays unlocked, which is very funny. So even if you say clear it from there, you kill the app from there, and then you go into the Play Store again, it would still stay unlocked, which is a bit funny. It goes to show me that it's not working properly. I know third-party apps which I've used in the past, which you can lock your apps with very easily, and every time you go back into the app, it will lock it and will ask you for a fingerprint sensor, or it will ask you for a password. But in this case, I think it's half-baked. It's not been done properly, so I think they need to probably send an update and get this fixed. If I'm missing anything, guys, please do let me know in the comment section. But from my understanding, I tried it several times, and every time I've locked an app, it only worked for the first time, and then afterwards it simply won't work, which is very, very impractical and not rightly done. Okay, so they also added the battery saving mode now, which I'll show you where it is. So let's get into settings, and from here we look for battery. It should be here somewhere. There we go, battery. And from here we go onto the top right corner, tap there, you'll see battery saver, battery optimization, and manage power hungry apps. So battery saver, you tap on there, you can turn it on. It says to help improve battery life, it will turn off all your vibration, location services, and most background data, including email and stuff. However, the added bit is just there, manage power hungry apps. So once you turn this option on, auto close high power usage apps. All the apps that are being used in the backend will start closing automatically themselves. I will be discussing in depth in just a moment later in the video about the battery life in general, but I found this just to be okay. I mean, it keeps killing the apps, but what's the point of having this at the back end if it keeps killing apps irregularly? I think the way EMUI from Huawei has done, that implementation is much better than the one by OnePlus on OxygenOS. This still needs to mature. I think they need to work on it a bit more, but I haven't been using it because the battery has been going through some other issues, which I said I will be discussing later in the video. Okay, gaming mode has also been now added. So if you go into settings and go into your developer options, if you can't see developer option, guys, you go into about phone please, and from here you tap on the build number like 7 or 8 times. There we go. And once you tap it like 6 or 7 times, you will see it will say you are a developer. Because I've done it already, that's why I'm saying you are already a developer. So if you haven't got the developer option, tap here a few times and you will see you will have the developer option in your settings menu. So once you go into developer options here, and if you go further down, you will see this is where the DOS mode is. So just below the DOS mode, you got the game mode. So this will say may increase the battery consumption and heat of the device. Because the Snapdragon 810, guys, once you turn this option on, this will kind of go into a turbo mode or power mode. So if you're gaming, obviously it's useful because then your game won't lag, but make sure that you keep an eye on your battery and also the heating. The Snapdragon 810, this phone has known to be heating whilst gaming and heavy usage. In my opinion, it hasn't given me much of a problem because I'm not much of a gamer anyway, but every time I've tried playing games, it's been okay. There's a video requested for this by several people in the past. They've been asking me to please revisit the OnePlus 2 and do another gaming video and see if the phone heats up. I'm not promising, guys, but time permitting, if I do get the time, I will probably do a gaming video with the gaming mode on, and we'll see if the device heats up. But for now, this is the gaming mode, which is in your settings and your developer options, and you can activate it if you want full power from your phone whilst it's gaming. Also, the alert slider has got now more options to customize. If you go into settings, guys, and this is your alert slider. slider. Those of you who don't know what alert slider is, it's on the left hand side of the OnePlus 2. You can change your sound profiles from normal to do not disturb or to silent, so whichever option you wish to go for. So now you can customize this mode to your liking. So if you, like I said, go into settings, go into alert slider. Here every profile has got now a customized setting. So if you go into ring, you will see you can also vibrate for calls. So previously I wasn't vibrating, so you can activate that option, or you can even turn it off should you wish to. You go into do not disturb. Here you can always there's so many options. You can customize your events, your reminders, messages from everyone, from contact only, from shared contacts, from none. So you can prioritize to whatever way you want your do not disturb mode to be adjusted. So it's got this option here. Let's, for instance, like repeat callers. If the same person calls a second time within a 3-minute period, and allow it. It could be an emergency call. So say for instance, if you're sleeping, you don't want people to be disturbing you. However, if somebody calls you for more than 3 minutes, that means it's an emergency. So the call will come through, and eventually you will get the call even if your phone is on do not disturb mode. Similarly, for silent mode, pretty much the same options. Media silence, alarms will ring, vibration. But the most important one is the do not disturb, because that's what people don't want. People don't want to get disturbed while they're sleeping. They put their phones on their disturb mode, and with this option at least you have so much more to customize. Also redesigned the volume adjustment bar. So if you press on the volume rocker on the right hand side, guys, you can see it comes up, and then you have options here to adjust your system volume or your music volume, whichever suits you, and also the alarm volume as well. But the one annoying thing for me is, guys, I cannot put the phone on vibration. Like in the past, I could just put the volume rocker all the way down, and it will go all the way down and will go into vibration mode. Say if I choose not to use the alert slider, I wanted to just put the phone on just vibration only. I could in the past put it all the way down there at the bottom, and it would go on vibrate, but now it has been restricted. So you can only go up to right the end, but it won't go all the way down, and you will still be getting ringtones and everything else, and tap sounds, this and that, which is a bit annoying though. It shouldn't be the case. And even if you tap into ring here, settings, it also vibrate for calls. That's all you get. So you won't be able to put on vibrate, which is very, very annoying. So for you, the only option is to use the alert slider now, whichever profile you like, and you'll have to customize it like I showed you earlier in the video on the alert slider. This is something very practical, something which often people use, but I don't know why they've taken it off. But to me, it's personally very, very annoying. Also, the shelf on the left hand side has also been now optimized. Previously in the past, I've had some lag and issues with delay and stuff, guys, but now it's more easier. And every time I go across and play with the shelf or make phone calls to people, or say do messaging and my most frequently used apps, it's very smooth and nicely embedded, and they've definitely worked on it. So that's not looking too bad as well. Okay, talking about the call quality, guys, in my experience, the call quality is absolutely fine with no issues whatsoever. I know certain people have had issues with their networks and signals dropping, especially in India, where you have the Reliance Jio network, which is a new network, and it's spreading across very quickly because they got some fantastic packages on 4G, and people are getting quite attracted in India. So that network had some issues with the network drop signals and stuff, for which, like I said to you earlier in the video, they released 3.5.5, and eventually OnePlus had to pull it off because, like I said, it had lots of issues with the people, especially on Reliance Jio. Eventually 3.5.6 fixed those issues, and luckily enough, I never got 3.5.5. I got the .6 instead straight away, with all the network issues fixed. In the UK, I'm using 3 UK, guys, and I've had no issues with the network signals on dropping calls and stuff. Even the call quality is superb, and no issues here whatsoever. So the stock clock app has also been redesigned. As you can see here, we've gone to clock app. It's more or less like vanilla Android, very easy to navigate through, and no problems here whatsoever. It's quite smooth. It was a bit laggy in the past, I noticed a few times, but now, like I said, they've redesigned it, and so it looks very, very smooth and very, very nice. Okay, so the slide down notification menu has also now been redesigned. So if you pull it down, guys, you will see all these nice animations and special effects are quite nice, more or less like vanilla Android, and also looks like Android Nougat, which is quite nice. And my personal favorite is the way you can switch on and off mobile data. So if you tap on data here, you'll see it goes off. You tap on the data again, it comes on. In quite a few OEMs, especially the ones with vanilla skin, they don't give you that option. You tap on it and they take you further down to another menu, and then you have to switch it on and off. But I personally love it. You don't have to do nothing at all, both for Wi-Fi and 4G. So if I tap on 4G, it will come on. Tap on 4G again, it goes off. Same goes for the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi thing is present in quite a few OEMs with the vanilla skin, which is fine. But with 4G, data activation on and off. I think this is not available in many OEMs, and OnePlus have done a really good job. It's a small minor issue, but for someone like me who always changes between 4G and Wi-Fi, this thing is very, very handy, and it saves you from those annoying little things which you find in other vanilla skin Android phones. So I quite like that. Okay, so now that we have discussed all the added features, let's quickly wrap this video up, guys, and let me just give you a few pros and cons about the phone and what do I think overall about the phone. Now, starting with pros, first of all, the one thing that I've seen improved in the phone is the overall speed. It's quite nice, and the day I got the update, straight away I could tell the difference straight away. I did tweet it on my Twitter account, telling you guys that the OnePlus 2 has definitely improved in the speed department, so it's quite nice. It's not looking too bad considering it's an old chipset, Snapdragon 810, along with 4 gigs of RAM. RAM is plenty. I think it's the RAM which is still keeping the phone, you know, nice and fast, and everything opens pretty nicely, not too bad. The occasional lag and here there is present, however mostly the phone is fine without any issues. Also, I'm very happy with the camera, the way the camera works, guys, and I will take a few photos here and show you how the camera works. The shutter speed is very good, and they've also improved on their post-processing algorithms, which is quite nice. So let's take a live photo here in front of you. There you guys. Even if you get closer, you can see it focuses pretty much straight away, and without any issues it's able to take a photo. So now let's take a photo of Andy the Android. There you go, guys, and one more here, the gun. There you go. You can see the shutter speed is quite fast. Let me increase the volume so you can hear a bit more, because at the moment the volume is a bit low. Okay, there we go. Now you should be able to hear the shutter speed a bit more louder. There we go, guys. Tap on the screen, focuses it. There you go. So I like the shutter speed for a phone which is nearly 2 years old. I think it's done pretty well, not too bad, and OnePlus keeps supporting the phone. So anybody out there doubting the OnePlus 2's camera, guys, I can assure you the camera on the phone is lovely. It's still very good, if not the best, among the best budget phones cameras you can find. And for your Facebook, for your Instagram, for your Twitter account, and all that kind of needs, this camera is actually more than enough, not looking that bad. As you can see, the photos are quite nice. In fact, I took quite a few photos earlier as well. I was testing the camera and I really like it. Of all the week that I've used the phone for, guys, the camera has shown some really good pictures. Even during daytime, fantastic. Even nighttime is showing some very good, decent results as well. So it's not looking too bad. I think you have nothing to complain about considering the price of the phone, considering how old the phone is, and still producing some nice pictures. And this is thanks to, like I said, OnePlus with their excellent post-processing algorithms. The camera still seems top-notch and not too bad. So I've had no issues with call quality. I know lots of people ask me, Jay, how's the call quality on the phone? From my side, guys, no issues whatsoever. The speaker phone is quite clear, quite nice, so no issues here whatsoever. Also, a lot of people ask me about the fingerprint sensor on the OnePlus 2. It had its own set of issues back in the days, but in the last few iterations, I've had no issues with the phone, the fingerprint sensor whatsoever. So let's now try it live right now as we speak. There we go, guys. Boom. Opens up straight away without any issues. I think this finger is also configured, if I remember correctly. There you go. So without any issues, the phone's fingerprint sensor is working flawlessly and no issues here whatsoever. Pretty accurate, pretty responsive, and considering it's an old generation fingerprint sensor, I think it's done pretty well, and till this day it continues to do so. And they have also obviously improved it in the last few iterations, but it's now working fine without any issues. Not as fast as the one on OnePlus 3 or the Google Pixel, but still keeping in mind, like I said, it's a 2-year-old phone nearly, so it's not looking too bad, and the fingerprint sensor seems to be working pretty fast and accurate. Okay, so now let's talk about the cons, and the first thing is the speaker volume, the speaker at the bottom. On the very first day when I got the update, straight away I noticed that the sound wasn't as great and wasn't as loud as it used to be back in the days. So let's open the YouTube app up and let's have a look and see if we can go to settings here and videos, my videos, and let's play my video which I uploaded last night between the Honor 6X and the Nova Plus, and it was a front and back camera comparison, and see how it sounds.
Let's start explaining the app now. Are we live? So you press the button. You did. Okay.
Okay, there we go. It's looking very stable, to be honest, and I think I can tell you right now, there is a reason why the Huawei Nova Plus is a bit more expensive than the Huawei Honor 6. A lot of people have asked. Even though the volume is at max, guys, and I'm not too sure if you can hear this on the camera, but to me it's got a bit muffled. It's not as loud as it used to be, especially ever since they took that max audio integration they had back in the days, and the phone's volume has never been the same as it used to be. This question, on YouTube and on my social media, Jay, which phone is better when it comes to camera. And that's why I'm recording this video along with the Honor 6X at the same time to show you guys the difference between the two phones. So let's get close to the wall, and very, very embarrassing, and obviously will have some fair consequences as well. Okay, anyway, so back to the Nova Plus again. Yes, like I said, the front-facing camera is an 8 megapixel affair. It has an f2.0 aperture. I think the aperture is much wider than the one. Yeah, so that's the word. Like I said, the first thing that I noticed straight away after the update is gone even worse than before. And like I said, ever since they've taken the max audio from the phone speaker never had the same volume. When the phone came out new with the max audio, the phone's performance on the audio department was fantastic. With the headphones, it's still okay, it's not bad, but with the speaker, it's simply not as loud as it used to be. So that's a bit disappointing. Also, I've noticed that at times the phone lags a bit here and there. I mean, I'll see if I can replicate it right now, but if I open a couple of apps, guys, you'll see it takes a while before it opens the app up. There you go, it's now locked. Let's open something else. There we go. It's okay, mostly it's fine, it's not that much of a problem, but it's just that every now and then, it just takes a bit of while before it opens things up, and which can be a bit frustrating, especially when you wake the phone up from doze and it sleeps really, really well. This is one of the better things about the phone. The doze has even enhanced more as compared to it was before, but the only problem is when it wakes up, it takes a while to wake up, and then it takes a good few minutes before it gets back to its fluency and the speed that it should be running at. So at times I do find the occasional lag here and there, but mostly it is working fine without any issues. Now also, the battery life is one of the biggest cons I've noticed in the phone, guys. This phone was giving us a good battery life back in the days, but in the last few months the battery life hasn't been the same, guys. So let me go into gallery and show you if I can. I've taken some screenshots before with the battery life, and I'll show you the kind of screen on time that I've been getting. So let's have a look there. There we go. I think there was when I was around 2% battery, 2%, and eventually after a long day I was able to take a total of 3 hours and 46 minutes of screen on time. Now this battery is huge in this phone. It's only a 5.5 inch 1080p, but for some reason it's not even giving me 4 hours of screen on time, and this is basically mostly on Wi-Fi, guys. As you can see on the graph here, I was mostly on Wi-Fi and hardly used 4G here and there, maybe for a few minutes here and there, mostly on Wi-Fi. Brightness was kept around 60% I normally keep, and the app usage was pretty much the same. I was making voice calls, checking my emails, social media, bits and bobs, like I would do with any phone. Even with this phone in the past, the same kind of usage, it was fine. But now I'm only getting about just under 4 hours of screen on time, which is a bit disappointing. Okay, also I think here I must have tested the standby time. Yeah, 41% at 1:22 in the morning on 8th of Jan, and then 15:32 the next day. After 12 hours it went down to 38%. The standby timing is not too bad, it's okay, especially if the phone is idle at night time. It sleeps well. Like I said, the doze mode on the phone is really nice. It has been enhanced and it works even better than before. Lots of people complain to me that, Jay, during standby time the phone drains out really quick, but at least I can tell you a drain on standby after this latest update 3.5.6 is not looking too bad. Then again, I charged the phone fully to 100%, guys. You can see in the graph here, and then again I tested the battery. It was mostly on Wi-Fi, maybe thinking that it was just a one-off thing when I got 3 hours and 46, but to my surprise it was even worse than before. This time around I got 3 hours and 42 minutes of screen on time. Yet again I was on Wi-Fi and not 4G. So this was disappointing, and I kept thinking, why is that the case? But for some reason, like I said, it kept showing me all these kinds of battery lies, and eventually again I took a screenshot, and this time around, guys, even though it shows Wi-Fi on, but mostly I was using my 4G. At times the graph doesn't show you the way is the usage, the way we are using it. So it's a bug at times on many phones. You're using 4G, but still Wi-Fi is being used all the time. It goes to show. But anyways, after using 4G, the usage was even worse. You can see 2 hours and 46 minutes of screen on time. So this is really terrible, guys. I'm very disappointed from a phone which is quite nice. The camera is good, the overall performance is nice, but the battery life has been terrible, guys. and I cannot emphasize any further to OnePlus, and I hope that in the next update, which is the Naga update, hopefully after this, they will improve the battery life on this phone, because these kind of figures are not acceptable at all. Heating, I will also be looking at, guys. I think I will probably revisit at some point gaming or whatever way I can test the cameras, phone's heat, sorry, because a lot of people have been asking me this. So I will definitely do a video maybe in the next few weeks, and I'll let you know how the heating goes. It could be a gaming and temp check video once again, revisiting the OnePlus 2 and see if the phone heats up. So guys, that's pretty much it. I've discussed everything from features and also pros and cons, and what do I think of the phone. Well, would I be recommending the phone, guys? Yes, still, if you're on a budget and you're tight, you haven't got much to spend, then yes, you can buy the phone. However, keep in mind that the battery life of the phone is at the moment suffering. I cannot tell for sure in the future would it improve or would it not improve, because obviously I don't work for OnePlus. I'm just a consumer and a YouTuber giving you all the information that I have based on my experiences. So it might improve, it might not improve. So keep the battery bit in mind if you're looking to buy a phone with a good battery life. At this point of time, I don't know about the future, but like I said, at this point of time, I'm not too sure. But apart from that, everything else on the phone seems to be working fine, and all those issues with the call drops, the Reliance Jio and all other Indian networks and other networks around the world has now been resolved by OnePlus. So guys, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Any questions about the OnePlus 2, which I'm sure you must have plenty, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. And like always, please subscribe as it helps, and I shall see you in the next video.